Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. My name is Liaquat Zaman. Hope you guys are having a wonderful time. Right, we are going through Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. If you guys are not familiar with my channel Roots of Knowledge, hit the subscribe button, check out the videos and share it with your contacts. Right, so this series is dedicated to Mukhtasar al-Qudoori and we have reached this lesson. I think it's lesson 110. Right, so we are going through Zakat of Urud. So before we actually go through this, let's check out some questions that I will be asking you guys at the end. What does urud mean? How do you work out the zakat of urud? What does Abu Yusuf say if a person didn't buy an item with gold or silver? How do you work out the zakat? What does ghalibun naqad mean? What happens if a person has nisab at the beginning and end of zakat year, but it dips in the middle? How do you work out the zakat of multiple assets? And finally, work out the zakat of a person who has 70 grams of gold and 5 grams of silver based on today's rates. Right. So let's figure out some of the wording then. So these words, zakat, urud, zakat. Urud actually means business stock, right? Trade stock, inventory. Zakat, wajiba, tun wajib, you guys know that. Urud, you know that. Tijara is business or trade. Kaina, it literally means is. Kana yakunu, is. And then you've got kanat, either balagat. Balagat means to reach. Qima, you guys should know that. Nisab, you guys should know that, definitely. Wariq, you guys should know that. Yuqawwama, yuqawwimu, to value, to give a value to something. Anfa'u is ism tafdeel, most beneficial. Lil fuqara, fuqara masakin, you guys know that. Ishtarahu bighayri thaman. Thaman here means that currency, right, with that gold and silver. Naqad, Misr is naqad basically means currency as well. Ghalib and naqad. Ghalib means predominant. Naqad means currency, gold or silver. Fi al-Misr, in the city. Ala kulli hal. Tarafay is dual, okay, so two sides. Al-Hawl, you guys know that. Nuqsan is the deficiency. Tudammu, Dhamma yadummu is to join or to add. And Urud is Urud. Dhahab is Dhahab. Okay, Qima is Qima. Hatta yatim, Yattamma yatimmu, or Atamma yutimmu, to complete. Nisab, you know that. And Ajza means portions or fractions. Right, let's check out the tarkib part of this now. So a quick tarkib. Babu zakat al-urud khabar. Hada is the mubtada. Zakatu is mubtada. Wajibatun is the khabar. Urud tijara jar majroor. Kainatan is the khabar muqaddam of kanat. Idha balagat is fi'al. Qimatuha is the fa'il of balagat. Nisaban is the maf'ul bihi. And dhahab, well, okay, you gotta know that. Jar majroor. Yuqawwama yuqawwimu taqweem. If you guys want to know more about sarf, check out my sarf series. I've got sarf series as well. If you guys want to learn Arabic, you want to learn how to read Arabic, then I would suggest check out my Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, which is on my uruq.com. Lil fuqara. Okay, so anfa'u lil fuqara. Anfa'u is basically ism tafdeel, so it's ghair munsarif, and you can only take single vowel, and here single dhamma. Masakin is the majroor. قال أبو يوسف قوم يقوم التقويم. اشتراه is فعل فاعل مفعول به بغير مضاف مضاف إليه. ثمن قوم يقوم. غالب بالنقد. الغالب, غالب is the صفة of نقد. في المصري جار مجرور. قال محمد بغالب النقد في المصري على كل حال. لكان النصاب is the اسم of كان. كاملا is the خبر of كان. في طرفي الحول. طرفي يعني طرفين. الحول is the مضاف مضاف إليه. And then you got نقصانه is مبتدا. فيما بين ذلك, in between that. سقط يسقط or أسقط يسقط in this case. فعل فاعل. زكاة is the مفعول به. وتضم ضم يضم. And this sentence finishes there. Okay, so it's a new sentence. تضم قيمة is فعل مجهول. قيمة العروض is مضاف مضاف إليه نائب فاعل. إلى الذهب والفضة كذلك يضم. الذهب is a naib file of يضم إلى الفضة بالقيمة. Hatta is harf jar, and then you got unhidden here because there's a fi'l mudari after it. يتم النصاب عند أبي حنيفة وقال. Now you guys should know why حنيفة is single fatha, right? لا يضم الذهب إلى الفضة بالقيمة جار مجرور يضم بالأجزاء. Okay, that's done. Now let's explain the masala. So basically today we're going to be explaining to you guys, or I'm going to explain to you guys about zakat of business stock. So imagine there's a guy like you own different things, yeah? I'm sure you've got lots of things in your house that you own. Let's just break these things down. Let's break it down into two types of things. We're going to do three, but two types first. Things that you have bought for personal use, and things that you bought but not for personal use, and then everything besides that you have, right? So I, for example, got this shirt, I've got my phone, I've got this desk, computer. These are all things that I bought but for personal use. But there might be some things that I might buy to sell. Yeah, so I might think to myself, oh yeah, look, there's a good offer going on here. I'll buy some things and then I'll sell it on to other people. So anything you buy to sell off is what urud is. So urud is basically anything that you bought with the intention of a quick sale and not long-term investment. So this is and then you got a third type, which is everything else. Some gift someone gave to you or anything like that. These all fall under things that there's no zakat on. So you only have to give zakat on items that have been you bought for sale. Now we're not talking about gold and silver here, because gold and silver, irrespective of how you've acquired them, you have to give zakat on them, right? If you want to learn more about this, then I suggest checking out in the description my crash course of zakat. So basically, you only have to give zakat on anything that you bought with the intention of sale, right? Okay, so this is, let me just color this in for you guys. So this is what you give zakat on. Just put in zakat there. And everything else, there's no zakat on that, right? Irrespective of how much you've got. You could have had loads of clothes, lots of watches, personal use, then it's fine. You have cars, you have a house, personal use, no zakat. And in fact, even if you have rented property, property that you bought to rent, put tenants in, there's no zakat on those properties because they're not there for selling. Yeah. So business stock, you don't only have to give zakat on your business stock if it's for sale. That's all. If you got a business, you got a factory, and you got machinery, you don't have to give zakat on those because those are used to make you money. All right. And so here there's an ikhtilaf between Imam Abu Hanifa, Abu Yusuf and Muhammad with regards to how do you work out the zakat for things that you bought. If I bought, let's say, if I've got a business of buying and selling cars, how do I work zakat of the cars? Based on what value? And if I've got a business of buying and selling cakes, right, I buy the ingredients and then I make a cake and I sell the cake, how do I give zakat on this? Or if someone has, I don't know, some online food business where they, people put orders in and they buy, how do you give zakat on these? That's what we want to work out. So in the olden days, remember, there was only two currencies, gold and silver. And zakat originally is on gold and silver. So how do you work out the business stock then? So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he's got a position. Imam Abu Yusuf's got a position. And Imam Muhammad's got a position. Let's look at what each one of them says. Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, his position basically is that you take the item and you value it according to gold and you value it according to silver, both. And then whichever one is going to make you have to give zakat, then you take that, right? So let's say, for example, I'll show you some examples in a bit. So basically he says whatever is beneficial for the poor. Beneficial for the poor means whenever the poor are more people are going to end up giving the poor zakat, then that's what you use, right? So in other words, if it's gold, then you value it according to gold. And if it's silver, then it's silver. In today's time, it's silver basically, right? So he says you value according to the poor. You look at the poor. Imam Abu Yusuf, he has some tafsil in here, so he's got some explanation. He says, if you bought it for gold, you give the gold. You work out the zakat according to the gold value, and if you bought it with silver coins, you evaluate it according to the silver, right? So he says that if it's gold, gold, silver, silver. But what if you didn't buy it with gold or silver? Then what? So then he says that you look at the predominant currency in that particular city or country, right? Do they use more gold coins or do they use more silver coins? So whichever one is predominant, that's what you're going to evaluate the item with. Okay, so they say dominant currency. Remember, we're talking about gold and silver currency, yeah? And Imam Muhammad, he says, you always use the dominant currency, irrespective of how you bought the item, whether you use gold to purchase it or use silver. You're always going to look at, let's say in this country, silver is in circulation more than gold. You're going to use silver to evaluate the item. And if it's gold, then you're going to use gold, right? So this is basically what he's saying over here. In other words, this is the difference of opinion. So how would this work then? So let's have a look at an example of seeing how this would work with the ikhtilafs then. So Imam Abu Hanifa's on one side, Imam Abu Yusuf's on one side, and Imam Muhammad's on one side. So let's take an item. Let's take some random item. Let's say, for example, like a car. Should we take car? Okay. Yeah, car might work. I'm just trying to think what would be better. Actually, should we use a mobile phone? The values of phones are something that we can work with. All right. So I've got a business. I buy mobile phones and I sell mobile phones. How do I work out the value of the phone? Do I work it out according to what they're worth according to gold coins or according to silver coins? Remember, we're back in time now. We're not talking about in today's 21st century. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he says, okay, evaluate it with gold and evaluate it with silver, and whichever one's going to make you have to give zakat, then that's what you're going to use. Yeah. So he says whatever's beneficial for the poor person, basically. So, okay, let's just write this down then. So Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he basically says you evaluate according to silver. What's it worth according to silver? And what's it worth according to gold? And then whichever one is going to be beneficial for the poor, you're going to give that. So let's say, for example, like if you were to evaluate it according to gold, it works out to be 10 mithqals. Its worth is 10 mithqals. And we know you need to have 20 mithqals for you to have to give zakat on it. And if you evaluate it according to silver, it's going to work out to be, let's say, 210 dirhams in silver. They say, okay. If you evaluate it according to silver, you've got to give zakat. And if you evaluate it according to gold, you don't have to give zakat. So he says, give zakat, because it falls under one of the two. And that's going to be more beneficial for the poor. So, okay, so this is basically Imam Abu Hanifa's position. I hope it makes sense. Now, what does Imam Abu Yusuf say? So Abu Yusuf says, well, what you basically do is you look at what did you buy it with? This phone, when you bought these phones, did you use gold coins to buy them or did you use silver coins to buy them? If you use gold coins to buy them, then you're going to evaluate it according to silver. So, gold, sorry. And if it's silver, then silver. Yeah, so according to gold, in this case, because the gold worth is 10 mithqals, you don't have to give zakat on it. But if you bought it for silver, then you would have to give zakat on it. Right, so that's what he says. What if you didn't buy it for gold and silver? What if you exchanged it, bartered it for a horse or a camel or something else? Then what? And it's okay, if you've done that, then you have to look at what's the dominant currency in circulation in the society. And if it's gold, then it's gold. And if it's silver, you base it on silver. Imam Muhammad says you basically use the dominant currency as the measure in all circumstances when it comes to business stock. Yeah, so he says, irrespective of how you purchased it, you look at the dominant currency. If in our society gold is in circulation more, you're going to use the gold nisab, right? And if it's silver, then silver. So in our society today, we don't have gold and silver. We have notes. How do we treat notes? So the notes, do we use the value of the notes according to what gold is worth or what silver is worth? So for example, gold is worth about 3,500, I think. And silver is worth 350. It's like 10 times my difference. So if someone has, let's say, £900, do they have to give zakat? So, well, if you look at silver nisab, they're way over the silver nisab. And if you look at the gold nisab, they're below that. So according to Abu Hanifa, he would say, yeah, you have to give it because it's beneficial for the poor. You'll end up having to give the poor, which is good. And Imam Abu Yusuf, obviously, he would say, if you bought it for gold, then gold. If you bought it for silver, then silver. And if you didn't, then you look at the dominant currency in the society. Now, we don't have that today. So Abu Yusuf's opinion is a bit difficult to act upon today. And Imam Muhammad would say that you look at the dominant currency. Again, it's difficult to be able to act upon that. So this is why many of the scholars say, in today's time, use the silver. Yeah, so as long as you've got more than £350, you literally have to give zakat. So just Imam Muhammad was saying that dominant currency, gold and silver. Now let me know if that makes sense to you guys in the comments, because sometimes it's a bit difficult to kind of grasp. But there are some scholars today who do say you use the gold for notes. Right? There are some who do say that amongst the Hanafis. Okay, right. So let's have a look at this. So Babu Zakat al-Urud, the chapter of Zakat of business stock or inventory. Zakat is wajib, necessary, fi urud tijarati, in the stock of business, kainatan ma kanat, whatever it is. إذا بلغت, when its value reaches nisaban, of gold and silver. Right, now when we say it reaches a value, is it the retail value, what you bought the mobile phones for? Or is it, is it the wholesale value of what you bought them for? Or is it the retail value, what you're going to sell it for? So the scholars in today's time say you should use the sale value, whatever you're going to sell it for, right? Because that's basically what it's worth at the moment. And if you don't know, if you haven't priced it or tagged it, then you can use the wholesale price. Yeah, so I've explained this as well in the crash course one. Yuqawimuha, right? So Abu Hanifa says that he evaluates it bima huwa, with what is more beneficial for the poor and the needy, right? Minhuma, from them too. So this is Abu Hanifa's view. Qala Abu Yusuf, Imam Abu Yusuf says yuqawimu, he evaluates it bima ishtarahu, with what he purchased it with. فَإِنِ اشْتَرَاهُ, if he bought it, so if he bought it with gold, then he works out the gold nisab, silver nisab. But what if he bought it بِغَيْرِ الثَّمَن, without any thaman, for no thaman? In that case, what's going to happen? He says يُقَوِّمُ, he's going to do taqweem, and evaluate it بِالنَّقْدِ الْغَالِبِ, for the dominant currency fil Misr, in the city. So in them days, in the city, they would have gold and silver. That's what we're going to use. Alright, قال Muhammad, Imam Muhammad says بغالب نقد في المصر, is whatever's the dominant currency in the city. على كل حال, in all cases. Right, in all cases, that's basically what you're going to use. And we just explained that over here. This is Imam Muhammad's. There you go. So I hope that makes sense. Usually students struggle in trying to understand this. I would say watch it again a few times if you don't understand it. And then if you don't understand it, email me or leave a comment in the bottom, inshallah. Right, next. So this is one masala. Next masala is, this is the masala, I've mentioned this to you guys before. This is of nisab. Right, so when we're following the nisab, we basically are looking for, as long as you've got the nisab at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, then you have to give zakat. Yeah, so let's say the nisab is £300. And this is the 10th of Ramadan, you got more than £300. And the next year, 10th of Ramadan, you've also got more than £300. So let's draw a line over here, here and here, and then let's draw a horizontal line, right, going from the 300, okay, all the way there. So basically, as long as you got above that line, you are eligible to give zakat. Yeah. Now, what if it dips below? So one scenario is possibly that your wealth stays above the line. Yeah. So your wealth stays above the line. You don't have to. You have to give zakat. Everyone agrees. What if it dips below the line? Majority of the Hanafi say you still have to give zakat. Yeah, you still have to give zakat in this. And then Zufar says you don't. But the rest say you do. What if it dips below zero? If it goes below zero, then your zakat calculation is cancelled, and then you wait until the next time you go over the line again. Right? So your zakat 12-month measure is cancelled. Okay, so this is basically what happens over here and there. So if you look at the masala now, he says, وَإِذَا كَانَ, so he says, when the nisab is kamil, is complete, في طرفي الحول, in the two sides of the year, فَنُقْصَانُهُ, then its deficiency or its decreasing, فِيمَا بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ, in between the 2 points, لَا يُسْقِطُ zakat, does not drop the zakat, like I've demonstrated to you guys in the image above. Okay. last masla now. Now this is the masla of trying to work out if you have multiple assets. How do you work out the zakat if you have multiple assets? So let's say you have urud, you've got some mobile phones or cars or whatever, and you've got gold. How do you sum it all together if you are eligible? Right? Because maybe you don't have enough gold to reach the nisab and you don't have enough urud. Obviously, if you have lots of gold, whatever else you have, you just add it together. So, but what if you've got gold and urud or gold and silver and individually they don't reach the nisab? So you got to merge them together, add them together. Right? So for example, like you've got, let's say, remember Abu Hanifa, what he says, right? What does Abu Hanifa say? You're going to look at the value according to what's going to be beneficial for the people. Yeah. All right. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah in this masala, he basically says, let me just zoom this so I can write on either side. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he says, you work it out, you add up the values of each one. Yeah. So values, you add up values. Gold value, silver value, you add them up. Whereas Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, they say, no, you don't look at value. You look at portions, fractions. Yeah. Do the fractions add up to one or not? So let me explain this. So let's say you have gold. Let's say I have gold. On its own, the gold is not enough. So the gold nisab is 20 mithqals, yeah? 20 mithqals is the gold nisab. I have to have 20. I don't have 20 gold. And silver nisab is 200 dirhams. Yeah. So how do I work this out over here? So basically in this case, what I'm going to do, Abu Hanifa says, you work out the gold. So let's say the gold is 15 mithqals, 5 less. And then I work out the urud and I found out the value of the urud according to gold value is 5 mithqal as well. The amount of mobile phones I've got are actually worth 5 mithqal or more. In that case, 15 plus 5 makes up 20. So therefore, I'd have to give zakat. So they say you look at the value, right? Add up the values. And let's say it's gold versus silver. So I've got 10, let's say mithqal of gold, and silver, let's say I've got 10 mithqal of silver. Silver, basically, the value of silver in gold. Does that make sense? Yeah. So obviously we don't value silver in gold normally. Normally we value in dirhams. But we work it out here, it works out to 20. And you could do the other way around as well. You could work out how much the silver is and how much the gold is worth in silver, convert it. And if it works up to more than the silver nisab, you got to give zakat. Yeah, so over here, so you have, let's see. Right, so Sahibain, what does Sahibain say? So Sahibain say, no, you look at fractions, basically. You're going to work it out according to the fractions. So let's say, for example, like, how much is 15 mithqals of gold from the nisab? 15 out of 20, yeah? So 15 out of 20 is three quarters, yeah? So 3 quarters. So 15 out of 20, 3 quarters. Okay, so you got 3 quarters there. To make zakat necessary, on the other side, you have to have 1 quarter, yeah? So in the urud one, obviously, if you're going to work it out according to gold, it's going to have to, it works out because 5 mithqals is literally 1 quarter. Yeah, so 5 mithqals is 1 quarter. So quarter plus 3 quarters equals a whole. So therefore, according to them, you'd have to give zakat in this situation. What about the gold and silver? So the gold and silver, let's say 10, how much is 10 to 20? It's half. And the silver, how much is 10 p? Let's say, we've got to work out obviously what silver is here. So silver here in dirhams is, let's say, 50 dirhams. Let's say 10 is equal to 50 dirhams. So what's 50 dirhams to 200? We're going to keep it silver, yeah? So 50 dirhams to 300 is a quarter. So I've got half of the nisab of gold and a quarter of the nisab of silver. If I join half and a quarter together, does that make a whole? No, it doesn't. Yeah, half and a quarter does not make a whole. Yeah, a half and a quarter. How much does it make? It makes 3 quarters. So it's not a full. So you see what they're doing? Fraction of the gold, fraction of the silver. Do the fractions make a whole if you were to add them together? So they're looking at the fractions, they're not looking at the value. Let me give you another example just to make it a bit more clear. Just to see if you guys can understand this. So basically, let's say, for example, you've got half plus a half. Half is 1, isn't it? Alright, so we want to work it out to a 1. Yeah, if you get 1, we've got to give zakat. So let's say 10 mithqals, 100 dirhams. So 10 mithqals is half of the gold nisab, and silver 100 dirhams is the silver, half of the silver nisab. Yeah, if that was the case, then you have to give zakat. In today's times, let's say there's zakat is basically 87.48 grams of gold. If you have that, you got to give zakat. And for silver, it's 613.35. Yeah, so 613.35 grams of silver. All right. So now, let's say, for example, I have let's say I have how much? 20 grams of silver. That's obviously not the nisab. But on the other hand, in silver, I've got 100 grams of silver. That's not the nisab. So would zakat be necessary there? So according to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, you look at the values. What's the value of 20 grams of silver in today's time? Yeah. So I'm coming at some, some figurative numbers. Okay. So 100 grams, let's say, of silver is worth £50, and 20 grams of gold is, let's say, worth about £900. 50 plus 900, how much is that? 950. Is that higher than any of the two nisabs? So let's check. What's the silver nisab worth? £350. What's the gold nisab worth? 3,500. So obviously 950 is more than 350. So according to Abu Hanifa, you have to give zakat. According to Sahibain, you'll work out the fractions. Yeah, it's the portions. So how much is 100 to 613? It's roughly, I'm just giving rough figures here. I'm not good at maths. You might be. 1/6, yeah? 1/6, let's say, roughly 1/6. And how much is 20 to 87? That's roughly about, let's say, a quarter. Should we say it's a quarter? So 1/6 and a quarter, does that add up to 1? No, it doesn't. Yeah? How much does it add up to? Well, it adds up to, so if you work this out, so 2 out of 12 plus 4 out of 12, 3 out of 12, which equals to 5 out of 12. Yeah? So it's 5 out of 12 days, just less than half. So therefore, according to them, there'd be no zakat in that. Does that make sense? Alhamdulillah. I thought this was going to be a difficult one. But alhamdulillah, you guys have understood this. So this is today's lesson. We've covered the zakat al-urud. We've covered the difference of opinion between Abu Hanifa, Abu Yusuf, and Muhammad with regards to how you calculate the value. Then we talked about the 2 points in the year, if it dips. And then we also talked about how to add multiple assets together. I hope you guys have benefit from this. Oh, actually, I haven't read the text, have I? Yeah, we've got to read the text. Right, so let's read the text. So, وَتُضَمُّ قِيمَةُ الْأُرُودِ, the value of the urud will be joined or added to the gold, والفضة, and silver. وَكَذَلِكَ, likewise, يُضَمُّ الذهب, the dhahab will be, the gold will be added to the silver, بالقيمة, with value, and according to value, حتى, until the nisab is complete, according to Abu Hanifa. وقال, and they both sahibain say, لا يضم الذهب, the dhahab will not be added to the fidda, to the silver, بالقيمة, with value. ويضم, but it will be added with ajza, with portions. Now I can read out. Questions for you guys. What does urud mean? How do you work out the zakat of urud? What does Abu Yusuf say if a person didn't buy an item with gold or silver? What does naqad, ghalib al-naqad mean? What happens if a person has nisab at the beginning of and end of zakat year, but it dips in the middle? To explain there. How do you work out the zakat of multiple assets? You should know that. And work out the zakat of a person who has 70 grams of gold and 5 grams of silver based on today's rates. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know. I would really love to know, those of you guys who have been watching this series for a very long time, please let me know what you really think about this series and how you think I can improve this series, because I'm almost close to the end of zakat. I'm going to be moving on to fasting, and I want to be able to make this series as beneficial to you guys as possible. So you guys are my support. I need to know how you guys are learning it, and if it's beneficial for you guys, so then I can tweak it accordingly. So Jazakallah khair. Please let me know. You can put in the comments, or you can even email me as well, or you can put in my Curious Cat as well, whatever is easier for you guys. And thank you very much to all my patrons for all your support. May Allah bless you guys abundantly in this dunya and akhirah. Without you guys, I would have never reached 110 videos of Qudoori. I remember people used to tell me so many times, please continue this, and I wouldn't have time. But alhamdulillah, with your du'as and your financial support, and alhamdulillah. Any of you guys want to become patrons as well and support me, then you can check out the description, or you can even just one-off donations through PayPal. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much, guys, and I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.